All right, everybody, welcome to the video here for lesson number 6 on intersecting chords and the angle that they create. So one of the things we learned about intersecting chords is the angle is created by this half of the sum of the two arcs. So this first example is good because it kind of tests a couple things we know about circles. So the first thing they give us is SW is 38 and WR is 98. Well, to find angle WXS, we need to know arc RT, because I need to know the arcs that are kind of opposite, right, or like we said, the angles are looking at. So to find that, I would do 180 minus 98, which becomes 82. So now I know the angle is going to be equal to half of the sum of the two arcs. So if I do half of the sum of the two arcs, I get 60 degrees. For number 2, we also learned in the lesson that intersecting chords are proportional. So we know that if EK is 5 and FK is 6, that's going to be a part that we can multiply together. And then it says GK is 3, then which of the following is GH? Well, GH, notice, is the entire length. We can't find the entire length right away, but we can find KH. So I can say 3 times X. Now remember, X is really KH, not GH. So if we do some quick math here, we get 30 is equal to 3x divided by 3, and we get x equals 10. So that means this piece is 10, or GH, the whole length, is 13. Number 3 gives us intersecting chords again, but this time it tells us that T is the midpoint of QS. It tells us that PT is 8. It then says QS is 40, meaning QT is 20, and TS is 20, because it got bisected by the midpoint. And it says find the length of the diameter. So I can find TR. TR is X, so I can say 20 times 20 is equal to 8x, or 400 is equal to 8x, or x is equal to 50. So if x is 50, I can know that PR, or the diameter, is 58. Number 4 uses the same picture, and it says that in circle O, segments QS and PR are perpendicular, meaning this is a 90-degree angle, and this is a 90. All these are 90-degree angles. And it says if QR is 150, so QR is 150, it says find PS. So if QR is 150, I can say the angle, which is 90, is equal to half of the sum of the arcs. Multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the 1/2. And I get 180 is equal to 150 plus x. Subtract 150. And I get x equals 30. So I can say PS is 30 degrees. Now, one of the things that you notice here is if QR is 150 and PS is 30, well, I see that PR is a diameter, meaning QP must also be 30 and SR must also be 150, because the two semicircles have to add up to 180. So I can say arc QP is equal to arc PS. I can say arc QR is equal to arc SR. I can even go as far as saying arc PQR, that semicircle, is the same as arc PSR, another semicircle. So there's actually a lot of congruent angles or arcs in this picture because of the perpendicular nature of those two chords. That's a whole other set of rules that we could talk about, but we're not going to today. Number 6 gives us this interesting picture. It says that AP is 3. It says that PQ is 5. It says QB is 7. And it says that QD is 14. It also says to find the length of PD and EQ. So let's find EQ first. So if I find EQ, I'm comparing some segments here. So I know there's a lot going on in this picture, but I'm comparing this segment to this segment the same way that I would compare this segment to this segment. So those are my intersecting chords that I'm dealing with there. So when looking at it, I have a segment of 8 compares to 7, the same as 14 compares to x. So 8 times 7 we know is 56 equals 14x, and then divide that by 14 and you get x equals 4. So then I know that Q, E, or EQ, not an arc, it's a segment. So I can say EQ is 4. Then we have to find PD. Now, PD is a little bit different to find. So for PD, I would need to know something else about this picture. Now, I know that CD and DE are the same exact size, meaning if they're cut here, they should be cut at the same exact size. That's not necessarily true, right? So if AB was a chord that was tilted in a different way, I could make the argument that that segment is longer. So there's got to be another way of finding PD. And at this point, let's just find EQ. We're going to say that we don't have enough info to actually find PD. So we'll just find EQ for today. That's good enough. We'll talk more about this one maybe tomorrow. Okay. Let's move on then to number 7. So number 7 gives us this picture. It's kind of cumbersome. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But if you look at it and realistically what they're looking for here, so we have this piece and this piece. These two chords intersect to create angle X. Then it says that HJ is 90 and KM is 100. Well, this circle, if you really think about it, is exactly the same as this circle. So if I was to just draw a circle with two chords, X, 90, and 100, exactly like what we just did in class. We just drew another chord in there, chord HM, to kind of make it look different. It's not. So we're still going to say the angle is equal to half of the sum of the arcs, just like we did in class. And this is going to wind up being 95 degrees. Hopefully this video helped, and make sure that you're working on that take-home quiz.